Hey guys, this is Krishna. So in this video, I'm gonna go over the tools and the tech stack that I'm using for the Micro-SaaS OamBase that I built. I hope you find this insightful. So first things first, the framework that I'm using, Ruby on Rails. This is my go-to framework. If I had to start something again today, this is the framework that I would use. Ruby and Ruby on Rails. Ruby first was built with the developer happiness in mind. So I find that it's able to move out of the way, the complexity actually move out of the way for you to really focus on the problem at hand. So Ruby on Rails, great community, great resources, the gems as well. So the gems are package libraries that you can actually include in your project to get you going to be able to complete maybe some features really quickly. So really recommend Ruby on Rails, and like I say, this is what I would use again if I was starting from scratch again. If I was starting today, you're able to build things really quickly and efficiently. So Ruby on Rails is the tools that I'm using, one of the tools that I'm using for OamBase. For my database, I'm using Postgres, and I think really I was forced a little bit into it, mostly because of the next tool that I'm going to talk about. That was primarily the main database that he was using, but I grew to love it a lot more as I used it. So really reliable database. You can handle pretty much all of the type of data structure that are out there. You can definitely, the database can definitely handle that. And I found as well it has some features that it comes with that are pretty nifty. So especially for search, you can, instead of going and trying to use another service, maybe like Elasticsearch, with Postgres, you already have something there natively that you can use, to enable a search in your app. So Postgres is the database that I'm using. So the next item that I'm using, the next item that I'm using to build OamBase, it would be regarding the deployment. And for deployment, I'm using Heroku. So Heroku, for most developers that have been using Ruby or Ruby on Rails, they're very familiar with it. But you can also deploy different apps that been built with different frameworks. I've deployed Vue.js app built with Vue.js and with PHP on Heroku, so it works really well on that. But I think from the beginning, from the history that I remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, it was really at the beginning really used by Ruby and Ruby on Rails developers. But so Heroku, really simple to deploy an application. I really like the pipeline feature that Heroku has. So with pipeline, basically you can set up different type of environment, and usually this is recommended where you have maybe something for review. If you have a pull request, you have an environment for that, or a pipeline for that, for everything that is in a review. You can have that, and then you have a staging environment, and then you have the production environment. And in your own on your computer, this is basically where you're gonna have your dev or local environment. So that pipeline feature, I've looked at other platforms that allow you to deploy applications, and so far I haven't found anything that is close to what Heroku really put in place. So with the complexity as far as deploying, Heroku kind of took it away as well, so very easy to deploy. It does get a little bit costly the more you scale, so the more you use it, it does get a little bit costly, but very easy to scale, very easy to deploy. Heroku for deployment is what I use for OamBase. So the next tool will be Git. So with Git, basically this is where I have you're able to handle Git and GitHub. You're able to handle version control, so you can easily revert back to a previous version. But this is really where I host my application. And nowadays, a lot of the platforms that allow you to deploy your application, they're gonna use Git for the source of the application. So you have other things there, Bitbucket. I think Bitbucket at the beginning, before Microsoft bought Git, was really used for I would say for companies, but now based on with some of the changes that Microsoft have been able to implement with GitHub, or that GitHub has been able to implement since the purchase with Microsoft by Microsoft, they really worked on a few things that make it really attractive now. The CI/CD platform, which means that every time that you're pushing a change to your repository, you can have a series of actions that are going to run, such as maybe running tests, or maybe deploying to another branch, or maybe merging a branch, and all those things just happen automatically. So Git, I recommend Git and GitHub for you to use, and this is what I'm using for OamBase. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is going to be my code editor, and I'm using RubyMine because I am a Ruby developer, so that's what I'm using. But RubyMine is a code editor built by JetBrains, and all the JetBrains product, I'm just really in love with what they do. The database, DataGrip, that's what I use. And also sometimes when I work in the front end, what do they have in the front end? I forgot. WebStorm. So WebStorm. So WebStorm is the IDE for the front end. I totally forgot. I almost blanked there. But RubyMine, a lot of other developers are using VS Code, and I used to use VS Code as well. But I find with time, especially because I was using Ruby, there was a lot of functionalities that VS Code didn't have. And with RubyMine, it's just really tailored to Ruby, very fluid. You don't have the same breadth of plugins that you will have with VS Code, but the few plugins that you have are very well implemented. So RubyMine is the code editor that I'm using. So to style my application, I'm using Tailwind CSS. It's a bit similar if you're familiar with Bootstrap, or if you heard Bootstrap. It's a bit in the same vein, but Tailwind is different as well. I find it's a lot easier for me to go ahead and style my application. Very easy to remember some of the utilities, CSS utilities there. It's a lot easier than if I had to go and code myself the CSS. But the thing is, contrary to maybe Bootstrap, where all the applications using Bootstrap were kind of like looking all alike, with Tailwind, you can make it really tailored to what you're looking for. So Tailwind for styling my application is what I'm using. As far as payment, what I've implemented, what you're going to find is, if you look, a lot of people are going to recommend Stripe, which I think is great. I mean, they have a great documentation. It does handle a lot of cases. It's pretty much the go-to, right? The big daddy, the godfather of payment application right now online, Stripe. But I decided to go with something a lot smaller. Maybe smaller is not the word, but what I'm using is Lemon Squeezy. So Lemon Squeezy is a merchant of record, and basically what they do that Stripe maybe at the moment doesn't really do is they handle the payments and they handle the taxes for you. So for everything that is subscription, everything that is digital-based product, Lemon Squeezy is a good option, and this is what I'm using for OamBase. I also find their documentation, API documentation was really easy to understand, was quick to go through. So Lemon Squeezy is what I'm using for handling payments with OamBase. The next one that I'm going to talk about is going to be Sentry. And Sentry is the platform that I'm using to track errors happening in the application, especially for errors happening in production. This is what I'm using to basically identify and maybe trying to get some of the data or some of the metadata that will happen around the errors. So Sentry for error identification in production. The next one is going to be about email, how I send email. So I'm using Sending Blue. They rebranded, now it is Bravo. So I'm using Bravo to send my emails. I think they have a free plan. I believe it's a free plan that I'm using, but I'm going to switch for my marketing. So that's for transactional emails, but for my marketing emails, I'm using Amazon SES. Simple email service, and I believe at some point I'm going to switch just to Amazon because Amazon does have a lower cost, but for now it is Sending Blue or Bravo that I'm using. And last but not least is to track, to keep me organized. I'm using ClickUp for project management, basically just for handling my backlog, handling the different features, documenting features, writing features, thinking about features, everything that has to do with that. I'm using ClickUp. I just find like the design, I love it. Some other people, from what I've seen, Notion is very popular as well. I believe some other people, I mean, most companies use Jira, right? Most companies, I think Jira is the go-to, but ClickUp is what I'm using, and you should check it out as well. So those are all the tools that I'm using for my Micro-SaaS OamBase, which basically help property investors to better analyze their properties. If you have a better stack, if you have another tool maybe that I forgot you want me to check out, you know, that's how we are able to all grow and all better ourselves. Leave it in the comments. I'm gonna have a look, and you know, I hope you found this video insightful, and I will talk to you in another video. Hey guys, this is Krishna. I hope you like the content. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment down in the comment section. Okay, so here at OamBase, we're gonna be discussing real estate concept. We're trying to make it easy for you to analyze your properties and select the best deal. So I'm going to include a link to the OamBase platform. There is a free trial. Give it a spin. Let us know what you think. And I'm also going to include some guides for you, especially if you're new on this real estate journey. Go ahead and check it out. But as well, if you're advanced, that could be a way for you to just refresh on concept, get a refresh on concept. So check out the guides, check out the platform. Let us know what you think. Let us know what we can do, what we can improve for you. We're going to get to that, and I will see you in the next video.